Story of the night. Paul Roos against his old mob. It started aggressively. They were all after Buddy, and a bit of chop suey in amongst it as well from Giorgio. And eventually things got going, and it was Parker on his favoured right side to snap truly. And then the holding the ball decision in the second quarter become the topic of the night. What's normal and what's not? What is the interpretation? We're a little confused. Sydney lead at halftime by 17 points. Eventually things got going here in the third quarter. Cunningham went back and put the Sons 24 points up. The Australian of the Year, Adam Goods, came onto the ground and immediately touched the ball within seconds. But Kieran Jack, the skipper, was able to kick his second goal. Paul Roos not happy, and at three-quarter time, Sydney by 26.
Let's get straight down to ground level. Lingy, have you got any news on Buddy Franklin?
Yeah, a lot going on in that quarter. Of course, Buddy Franklin subbed out of the game. Just talking to a couple of the Sydney people, they're not too concerned. He just lands here on his knee. They think he's going to be okay. They just didn't want to risk anything further happening. They thought he could have probably gone back out there, but not worth taking the risk with him. Of course, he's such an important player for the Swans. I just noted something quickly at three-quarter time for Paul Roos. Just pulled Jeremy Howe and Jack Watts aside and just had some really strong words with those two players. Not happy, obviously, with something that was happening in that third quarter there. Knows that they're important players in the team. Wants more out of them in this last quarter.
What do you reckon he was saying there?
I reckon the defensive chase and tackle from those two guys as forwards hasn't been up to it. And that is the minimum standard for Paul Roos. If you don't deliver that, you're going to hear about it pretty quickly.
Parker takes a nice mark. And he'll go back.
Thanks, Jeremy. Ben.
And with his right boot, Richo.
Yes, his right boot, Brian, he'll drill this, I reckon.
I just caught him earlier tonight being a left footer, but he's actually a right, and he shanked the last one. Let's have a look at how he goes with this one. Makes a better fist of it, although a little short in distance, and umpire signals a minor score. So Sydney now by 27 points. Not out of the reach of Demons, but they're really going to have to get things going here.
Thanks, Harry.
Turlick.
Well, they've been hemmed into a slow play here, but they just got to play fast this whole last quarter. Play on, corridor footy, get it in quickly.
Kennedy, short ball to McGlynn. McGlynn can wheel and go if he wants. Sees some space. Parker was on the lead again. This time it was trimmed off nicely by Pedersen. He gives it to Vince. Turlick now can run. He's got clear space in front. Hanbury around the corner over the head of Goods, and Pike couldn't make any ground. McDonald dropped the mark that he really should have tidied up.
The second quarter where Melbourne outscored the Swans and kicked goals as Jack Watts takes a little bit of a sit on the pine. They, when they turned it over, moved the ball up quicker, and what you said there, Richo, before makes sense. They've just gone a bit slow themselves, the Demons. They've still got to take the game on when they get a chance.
Giorgio.
They need to try and, well, that's good. Quick handball out, and that gets this whole play moving now. And when you play on, it forces the players further down the field to create as well.
Won't win unless they go for it, Richo. They've got to do it. They've got to take it on here, Melbourne. Are they protecting the blowout? Are they going to protect the blowout, or are they going to go for the win?
No, you've got to go for the win. And if you want to play slow footy and chip, well, that's going to make it slow footy for your forwards. Forwards tend to not lead if you're playing slow through the middle and half back. So if you play on, it forces the forwards to keep moving.
Pedersen down to Jones. Sharp handball back. Pedersen kicks the long footy in over the head of the Demon forwards there, and they've got it deep at least.
I know Paul Roos talked a lot about percentage at the start of the year and about improving that this year, but pretty sure they just got to play on and go for a win.
Norwood kept scoring low. Jetta looking to get it to Kennedy, who now comes under some Tyson pressure. Hanbury by Viney was good as well, and Roberts-Thompson again got tangled up with Giorgio, and Roberts-Thompson gives Giorgio another one. They've been whack for whack tonight, those two.
They're going at it here as well off the footy.
Genuinely don't like each other. These two as Goods marks within range.
Geez, he led into that footy well, Goodsy. 330 games, he's just a Rolls Royce the way he moves still.
Went the short footy and it was perfection to McGlynn.
It had the real Stevie J look-away kick. There's no one apart from Stevie J tries that, but because he's got that in his trick bag.
Thanks, Ben.
Yeah, Lingy just...
They're just enjoying that one, Lingy, I think.
I think he loved it, Lingy.
Just letting things glide past him at the moment. Lingy, here comes McGlynn. And Sydney get another and a good one, 33-point leaders.
It's all in the eyes here for me, isn't it? Look at this, just a little dart across. Maybe I'm not going to go for home. And that takes a fair bit of skill.
Nicely done by Goods. As Sydney go forward again, Roberts-Thompson gives them a contest there. There's McGlynn into tackle mode this time. He's a real workhorse. Bird with a handball looking for Goods. Spun out with a footy, McDonald. Burns, stripped by Shaw. Now Goods again. Keeps the ball in front. Grimes did well not to offend there. Now Vince. Vince at halfback, little Chisler. Down low, tidied up by Burns. He gave it to Vine. He didn't realise there was pressure from behind. Good tackle by Jack.
Right there, Jack.
Right there, Jack, said the umpire. For Kieran.
It's his 7th tackle.
Shannon, where you are now?
Dan Hanbury's had 11 clearances tonight.
Shaw nonchalantly gives it off to Laidler, who lets it rip from 52. Got the tackle high. It did slip down a little bit. The tackle was completed above the hips, I reckon.
Yeah, pretty fair tackle. Played a heap of rugby, you reckon, Kieran Jack?
Yeah, his
Great tackler.
Dad was one of the all-time greats, wasn't he? Gary Jack of Australian Rugby League. We know Melbourne have improved their defence, and we've been pretty full in our praise of that, Richo. But who can bob up and kick 2 or 3 here just to make it more of a contest for Melbourne? Who would you go to?
Well, you've got to go to guys that have been proven goal kickers, I reckon, in the past.
To throw, one-handed throw.
Gee, that's a great tackle from Jack Viney.
So who are those?
To be honest, Melbourne don't have a lot of them at the moment. That's one of their biggest issues. Chris Dawes will present like he did then, but he's never been a player to kick bags of multiple goals.
Well, of their players tonight, Shannon Burns has the most career goals, I think, in amongst the Melbourne players. Here's Cunningham.
I mean, that's where, you know, Mitch Clark is a huge loss for this footy club. He was the one capable of kicking, you know, your 5 or 6 goals or getting 2 or 3 quickly.
Goods again, as you say, really gliding over the ground.
Geez, that's a great sign to see him moving as well as he is.
Beautiful kick to Kennedy as well. So it's been all class from Adam Goods.
Yeah, that wasn't a loaded question, Richo. And you're probably right. You look through the side now and you think, who's got a bag of 5 of them for Melbourne? And there's not many, is there?
Not at this stage.
Kennedy, short footy to McGlynn, lessens the angle. Only a moment before that, Goods had tried the same lead, was ignored, but cleared the space for this man.
Benny McGlynn, always known with the goals, like, gee, can find space inside forward 50. He is a natural type forward, Ben McGlynn. I know he's playing a tagging role sometimes now, but knows how to find space inside 50.
Worked hard tonight, missed that one.
And people may go, oh, how can't you find space? Well, I reckon it's something that you start with maybe as a junior. It's not something that just suddenly comes to you, and people who have got a history of being able to do it continue to do it, and Ben McGlynn's one of them.
Guys, you can see Kieran Jack there. You mentioned how tough he is. Just looking underneath his jumper, he's got a lot of padding on his right side, on his ribs and his abdomen, and he's having a little bit of trouble with it. He's got constantly checking with the doctors and the medical staff just around those ribs and that sort of midriff area. So maybe he's copped a bit of a knock and come into this game with really sore ribs.
Pike, the interception to Bird. Gets a clear path. Doesn't need to turn and face the footy soon. And he's got a little time to Grimes.
He has got no one at all up there as he looks up. So that's all he could do.
Just kicks it to the space. Now it's a race between Shaw and Dawes. Shaw wins it. Richards, he says, come on, Shawry, get up off the deck. I need someone to give it to.
An example of it yesterday in the Anzac Day game is players that can kick multiple goals quickly, still side bottom.
See Jack holding the ribs there, as Lingy mentioned.
Yeah, he's all over that, Lingy. He just looks sore, doesn't he? Grimacing.
That was deliberately out of bounds then by Richards, which I thought was strange. Dawes went to his non-preferred side.
Not his best effort. But yeah, side bottom, kicked 3 in a quarter, but he was always a goal kicker. He kicked 10 in an under-18s grand final, I think, side bottom.
You see the padding there, as Lingy points out.
Didn't like the side bottom work there.
Yeah, no, I did. I was just looking at the picture there.
Just gave me 0.
He had 40 possessions and kicked 10 still side bottom that under-18 grand final. Fair day.
Salem. The foot kick around the corner for his first goal in footy.
You got to love this. Christian Salem's first goal in AFL footy, the pick 9. But even more, boys, I love the fact every player on the ground has got over to Salem. They come from full-back all the way through, and that says something about where this group are at. They've got more spirit than they've had for a long while.
Yeah, to a man, every single Melbourne player. Everyone, right? The full-back, Grimes ran all the way down as well.
So 29 points out of it here at the moment, the D's. Malcheski, great handball to Jack. Jack now looks wide for Derricks. Ground level footy, Lloyd. Roberts Thompson, who's had a real battle with Giorgio tonight. Not the required journey. Jack lines up and misses.
We'll get a bit of a look tonight, Bristol, at the big trade in the off-season. Melbourne gave up pick 2 to get Dom Tyson, who has had a great start to his career at Melbourne. I think he's been great. Christian Salem was the other pick. And Paul Roos's logic was we sort of get 2 for 1. We get one that we know a bit about, and we get a little look at Salem, who we're seeing tonight. There he is.
Right on cue. And he hasn't looked out of it at all. He's looked quite comfortable at this level.
Well, just kicked that goal, and every finish he's had's been neat. Hasn't turned it over.
Composed. There's Cross, the veteran. Frawley stretches the legs. 40 and closing misses.
Gee, there's a good chase there in the background. Reece Shaw gave that chase everything. Nearly got there in the end.
What's there now, Jack? What's there, Jack? Move it on. Play on. Up there. Play on.
Bird. Parker.
He goes hard, Salem, doesn't he? We just saw him again there. Throw his body in, and Richo, you love this chase.
Yeah, well, look, he's given it absolutely everything, Reece Shaw.
Pike just ragdolled by Jamar there. Little handball came from Kennedy Harris.
Not 50!
Grundy went the sock up. Watts, nice. Sly little handball. Jamar. There's now Jones to Frawley wide. Can he keep it alive? He can. Handball over the top to Pedersen. Had to do some fancy footwork, and probably the wrong decision made by him in the end, and that's where it should have gone to this man. Frawley, Jones backwards to Watts. Watts into the spot. Grundy overrunning at Cunningham, gives the Demons a chance. Matt Jones tidies up. He wanted it back. Viney said, no, I'm just going to bullock my way through, and has a ping but misses.
He's got a hard head, Jack Viney. Just see that. He just wheeled his way through a tackle there. Just some of his finishing tonight hasn't been at its absolute best.
So the crowd tonight, 24,855, which is 60-odd thousand less than yesterday on this same ground. Hanbury on the wing, says come at me, but no one's looking. Now a little bit of space. I think it's Cunningham on the lead here. Got the hands on it, couldn't hold on. The tackle was good though, dispossessing. G. Jones held on and drew a bit long. Lucky not to be penalised there. Now Kennedy around on the right boot, high footy, got to go back. Dunny's got the little man McGlynn hanging around. He's dangerous. McDonald arrives. Now Kennedy Harris. Laidler. Jeremy Howe.
Well, there you go. Haven't seen much of that from Jeremy this year. He's doing that every game last year. Only been 11 contested marks tonight for the whole game, both teams. 8 for Melbourne and 3 for Sydney only.
Have a look at this. Just does it with such ease and comfort, Jeremy Howe. Doesn't worry about the landing until he's secured the footy. Jones onto Burns. He can kick it from here, Burns. 50 metres out and closing, but it falls short to Richards. Rampy, short footy, finds Bird. So Sydney will play Brisbane at the Gabba next week. As far as Melbourne are concerned, they'll travel to the renovated Adelaide Oval for a game there against Adelaide. High footy. Derrick's wanted a piece of it off hands. And if you've just joined us, Franklin out with a sore-ish knee in that third quarter. Subbed on was Adam Goods, and there is Buddy. We don't think it's too bad. And Goods took his place. Hanbury somehow eluded the tackle. Gee, McGlynn's turnaround was on a threepenny bit there. And now Dunn, who's done pretty well tonight. He's caught here, just got rid of it in the nick of time though. Hanbury onto Lloyd, back to Pike, and gee, funny sort of kick there from Mike Pike. Now Goods keeps his feet, keeps it rolling forward, and it's going to end in a Derrick's goal. Put it down to Goods though.
Your call, BT, keep your feet. Is what Goods has done so well for 332 games. Other players would have felt a bit of pressure and maybe gone to ground. He never does.
J-Mar did well then. Parker unloaded. Viney's tackle on him by Bird was initially high, but he dropped it down quickly. There's a ping-pong style game going on in there. Now Malcheski. Good kicker. Into the spot Derrick's was coming, but Crossgrove. Out wide. Kennedy Harris. This way, that away. Good ball to Jones, who's got Dawes on over the top. Here comes Shaw to spoil the party, and a couple of times Dawes has been caught out like that tonight, where he hasn't sensed the pressure and hasn't heightened his urgency to win the footy in the air.
In fairness, it wasn't a great kick to him, BT. It just hung in the air a bit longer than it needed to. And he doesn't get huge numbers at the moment, Dawes, but I love his work rate, Richo. He's just trying his heart out at the moment.
Yeah, he's always had pretty good work rate in his time at Collingwood.
Frawley, a difficult ball to stop.
been that sort of night for Frawley tonight. It's been limited opportunities for him. Only 33 inside 50s from Melbourne, and that one bouncing just a metre in front of him. Pretty frustrating.
Pressure's gone right out of this game now. Cross marks in defence.
Very good overhead mark is Daniel Cross, with player his size, always has been.
And Daniel Cross, he's done a terrific job tonight. He's just that disciplined, mature player, as you guys have mentioned earlier, but he's kept Jared McVeigh to just the 18 possessions in a game that Sydney have really dominated. To keep McVeigh that quiet, that's a really disciplined role for the team.
Had 23 himself too, Lingy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what he doesn't just tag. He never has, even when he was at the Bulldogs. He actually goes and wins his own ball. Really good in the contest and such a fit player. He just works so hard on his game.
Jones through the traffic. On to Salem. Once again, a really measured kick.
Jeez, that's a classy left foot, Salem, isn't it? Every ball that he's kicked, he's had 5 kicks and they've all been lace out.
Frawley, I'm not sure where that one was going. Probably Bale, but gee, there was a lot of traffic around him to thread the needle there. Bird finds some space with Parker. He wants to just take the foot off the gas for a moment.
You can just tell with these top players, young players now. We've seen Billings at St Kilda with poise, Josh Kelly at GWS, and now Salem tonight in their first games. Just every touch they've got is class.
That accidental knee into the rib of Derricks there by Dunn. I don't think he meant it at all, but Derricks is not happy about it and got him right in the ribs. Lyndon Dunn, and Derricks is going to hunt him. Have a look at this.
And Giorgio's always been around a bit of ill feeling tonight, hasn't he, Alex Giorgio?
Yep. Jones running on the southern wing. Just that pressure late, forced the kick, but Melbourne have got 3 players on here. Grimes over the top, can give it a game. He does, and finds Pedersen. Pedersen marks within range, so he'll go back to level 2 goals apiece here in the last quarter.
He's worked pretty hard tonight. Did a little bit of ruck work.
Got a kick at about 47. Good looking kick. A little left in the end flight though.
He looks to me like someone Lewis Roberts-Thompson was when he first started out. There's a lot of questions about whether or not he was up to AFL standard LRT, and then Paul Roos just found a role for him and persevered, ended up being a very good premiership player for the Swans. If he can do the same with Pedersen, he's a bit of a genius.
Viney. Stolen here, Hanbury. Tries to open him up in the wing with a kick to Kennedy. Now they've got the loose player on. McGlynn wanted it into the pocket. If he's got the length in the kick, and he has, but Turlick read it beautifully. Dropped off his man Cunningham to help out then, Turlick. Really good team play by him.
Yeah, it was good play because McGlynn had found himself goal side again. Gee, does it well.
Bale here. Pedersen again will get a run at the footy. It'll go against Dawes.
Thanks, Chris.
We're talking a lot tonight about the different Melbourne, obviously, with what Paul Roos brings to the table. Round 8 2012, Josh Kay's just telling me, Melbourne scored the same amount, 37 points. On that night, though, Sydney scored 138. So it is a completely different way of playing, and I admire it. I think it's the first thing you had to do. They haven't got the class goal kickers yet. They're hoping Jesse Hogan, they're hoping they can draft a couple more, but at least it's something you can hang your hat on, is that they run and defend better.
Certainly have done that. Even when this game looked like opening up, they've been able to find a way back.
Well, that'd be the first thing to get right, wouldn't it be? The defensive stuff, and they've certainly tightened up this year.
Touch, player.
Cross. Frawley and Grundy. Shaw. Smith under enormous Shannon Burns pressure there. Rampy just tries to bulldoze his way through. He's lucky to get away with that one. And now Derricks and Dunn go at it. Lyndon Dunn had a fair bit of the footy tonight. Short little ball. Cross now. Cross won't probably be able to kick the distance from there, and he'll realise that. Vince will. No one on the mark here, he can go. He decides not to.
It's a long kick, Bernie. Should get the distance.
Very deliberate. Bernie Vince pretty close to the man on the mark. Got the altitude. Now has he got the carry? It'll fall a metre or two short. Stayed alive, Pedersen. Burns to Jones. Trying to sell the foot candy. Back with the left foot. Banana hits the post. Hit both posts. Bet you haven't seen that this year, Richo.
No, haven't seen that one, BT.
It would have looked good off the boot.
Would have been a good goal from there.
Melcheski with half a minute in this game remaining. Parker. And not calling the mark here because of the lack of distance in the kick. 31-point lead to Sydney here. And they've got themselves in a good position here at 3-3 after a shaky start with Brisbane next week. Kick around the corner, needs a good bounce. Have a look at that. No score. Sydney now back at 3-3 with a win over Melbourne.
With Adam Goods, and Goodsy, you look like you're just enjoying being back out on the footy field.
It's been a long 10 months thing, and just to get back out here and have a couple of kicks was awesome, and then get a win as well, it's great.
Were you able to focus on the footy? You've had a very busy schedule in the off-season. Of course, congratulations being Australian of the Year, but you were hanging with royalty, you were with William and Kate, you were throwing out the first pitch of baseball. Have you managed to get the mind back on footy?
Oh, definitely, mate. This is what I'm getting paid to do, so it was nice to come out here after a long spell and, get a few kicks hopefully next week, get half a game and just keep increasing it as we go.
It was hard work tonight, wasn't it? Melbourne, they really improved their defensive structure, their defensive intent. It took you guys a while to get through them, but eventually you're able to break them open.
Yeah, definitely. To their credit, they went one-on-one at us, and unfortunately in the first half they really had us on those tough one-on-ones. So to get away with the 4 points tonight, not playing great footy, is probably a good effort.
I take it, you being such a competitive person, you don't like wearing the subs vest. Do you get in horse's ear now and say, we'll get rid of that subs vest for next week?
I hope so, mate. I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like I've only played about 20 minutes, so we'll see how we go. You know
what the sub has to do, though, now? They've got to start running laps to the MCG while everybody gets to go in and relax.
Yeah, it'd be nice if everyone could just keep a camera on me while I'm doing a few more laps.
Well done tonight, mate. Great to have you back out there.
Adam Goods there. Welcome return for him. Buddy Franklin in the red tracksuit there in the middle of all of that. Not a pronounced limp, but he doesn't look too disappointed. Back down to Cameron Ling.
I've got Daniel Hanbury here. He just gave Buddy Franklin the big hug there, Hannahs. Hopefully he's okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's just a bit ginger, mate. I think last quarter, I think it was made the decision to swap him for Goodsy, which is a fair replacement, really.
Decent sub to have up your sleeve, Goodsy. You must love having him back out in the team, back running around. He's such a great player.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's the heart and soul of the footy team, and he's been driving a lot of the boys after a poor month of footy at the start of the year. And great to have him back, and we're hoping he can keep building and be a vital part for our rest of the year.
A marvellous game by you tonight. You seem to be out there just running with absolute intensity. Came to the bench exhausted every single time. Was that the thing? Just get quick, short bursts, but do it at high intensity?
Yeah, well, certainly our midfield the first month we probably weren't running as well as we could have. One of our strengths is our work rate and be able to run hard. And I think it's been a big focus the last couple of weeks. We come off absolutely stuffed, and it's only a couple of weeks where we've started to build back up. We've got a long way to go, but it's a good start to rebuilding the year for us.
Thanks for your time, Hannahs. Well done tonight, mate.
Cameron Ling and Mark Hanbury down there as he'll join his teammates. Adam Goods is at the other end of the ground thanking the supporters for coming and really
enjoying himself out there.
Well, I don't think Goodsey wants to get off the ground. He's just got back involved in footy after 10 months, a long 10 months, as he said, and the boys are just waiting for him. He's getting back down towards them now.
All right, I think Lingy's just having a chat with Buddy Franklin at the moment. What did he say, Lingy, in with regards to his injury?
Yeah, he doesn't want to have a chat, BT, but he said he's good. He felt really good, just a bit of a precaution. That's why he was subbed out of the game. I don't think he likes being subbed off, but he said thumbs up.
Nice job, Lingy, down there.
Yeah, just always gets the right information, and that's a good summation of... the disappointing thing, he came off, but Adam Goods, I've heard people say that they're really worried about whether or not the end's coming to good. Even in a quarter tonight, you thought he's got a lot of footy left in at a really high standard. If that's a sign of how he can run, that's a brilliant thing for Sydney.
Yeah, I thought he looked like he was moving pretty well, Goodsey. Obviously would be fresh in his legs, and I guess the next month or months will tell whether he keeps going around again, but the sign's there tonight. There's plenty of life left in Adam Goods.
So they'll go down and enjoy this, and as Mark Hanbury said, they had a rough...
That'll be Dan Hanbury, his old man's
Dan
Mark,
Hanbury,
isn't it?
sorry. They had a rough start to the year where they were able to just get the one win against Adelaide and 3 losses, and now they've got back on even playing ground where they're 3-3, and they play Brisbane at the Gabba.
Yeah, the
next
boys
week.
Walking down into the room, says Jared McVeigh's a bit ginger. Jared, he had Daniel Cross all over him all night, a little bit sore. They'll get in and give this song a good bell.
If they can sort themselves out and stay injury-free, I still think the combined depth of their midfield is the best in the competition. Goods comes back and plays free. Franklin, if Tippett finds his way back in the side, the reason why we all thought they were going to be a top 4 side, that hasn't gone away. Just going to take a little bit more time than maybe they would have hoped.
Well, they started tonight with Franklin deep and Mike Pike at centre-half forward. Well, that'll be Tippett, and he's 200 centimetres in an almighty contested mark. So you get him back in the team, straightens you up. And they're trying to play corridor footy tonight, and when he's down there, you want to get it in quickly.
You just see the body language here. They know exactly where they're at, Sydney, don't they?
They don't get carried away. No. They never have, the Swans.
They know precisely what this means.
Shake down the thunder from the sky. Whether the odds be great or be small, Swans will go in and win over